Everybody keeps looking. I think it was.
I'm going to call it to order the Port of Siuslaw Commission meeting for Wednesday, January 20th at 7 p.m. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Commissioners, do you have any issues or any changes you'd like to see to the agenda? Hearing none, we will continue. The next area is remarks from citizens or groups. We have a sign-up sheet. Is anybody signed up?
No.
Okay, we will have no remarks from our citizens at this meeting. Next is the financials. Commissioners, have you a chance to read all your financials? Review the financials? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it has been moved by Commissioner, whatever his name is, and seconded by Nancy, Michael. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Okay, it's this time of the year when we have the State of a Port message, and I once again have prepared one, so I will read it at this time. 2015 found the Port of Siuslaw continuing its plan to increase revenue and cut back expenses. The port continues to be profitable, which allows us to save funds for future projects. 2015 brought continued increases in occupancy in the RV park of 11% and in the Morridge Basin of 16%. Last year, the port upgraded the lighting in the Harbor Street lot, built a new fish cleaning station, provided a location and a base for an artistic centerpiece at the boardwalk, and installed new Wi-Fi equipment in the RV park and the marinas. 2015 also saw some staffing changes. The major change was the retirement of port manager Robert Forsythe, who had been with the port for close to 4 years. The port will continue to support recreational and commercial fishing and continue to seek out fishing-related businesses to help improve our local economy. Now that we are into 2016, we are looking forward to working with a new port manager to help keep our port the very best port on the coast. This last year, the port was once again a little crabby, extremely fishy, and somewhat clammy. That's our state of the port for this year. Statement. Okay. Next is old business. Under the old business, we have been negotiating on the Wilbur project, and so I have once again an opportunity to read to you a statement that has been prepared by the Wilburs and the port concerning the purchase. The Port of Siuslaw is pleased to announce that it has successfully negotiated an earnest money agreement to purchase from Don Wilbur Limited the 51-acre parcel land, including the tidal flats at the confluence of the Siuslaw River and North Fork of Siuslaw. This land has previously been used for marine industrial uses, including dock building, tug and barge operations, boat repair, and storage. The property also has a waterway lease from DSL for docks and boat moorage on the waterfront of the Siuslaw and valuable deep water access to the ocean. Working with the State Marine Board and other agencies, the port plans to develop a recreational facility that may include a boat launch at the new location at 5940 Highway 126. Having an additional boat launch will relieve pressure on the current boat launch facility located on Harbor Street. During periods of heavy use, boat trailers are often lined up for blocks around the streets surrounding the port's lodge site. In the future, the port may offer boat storage, parking, picnic tables, as well as public access to the clam flats, which has been privately owned since 1950. Although privately owned but for decades and posted no trespassing for liability reasons, many people have regularly dug clams there at low tide, and ODF&W even has publicized the location as if it were publicly owned. Over the next few months, the seller will provide a survey, legal lot verification, and title insurance, and will work with the port to allow the existing users to transfer their leases to the Port of Siuslaw, which will provide some rent income to offset the purchase. The billboard located on the northeast corner of the property will be retained by the seller and is not part of the agreement. The port is applying for financial assistance from state funding sources to conduct initial investigations to be sure that there are no unexpected risks from past industrial uses. Should any further work be recommended, the federal government is in favor of funding rehabilitation of historic industrial lands as opposed to leaving old sites in their present condition and building on new sites. The port will work with federal resources to resolve any environmental concerns and assure the public's protection before moving ahead with the purchase. This presents a win-win opportunity for the Port of Siuslaw, the public, the environment, and the local economy. End of message. Okay, item 2 on new business, award banking service. Dina,
Yes,
are you going to report on that?
all right.
Or tell us?
I reported on that in a special meeting, but after review of the 3 banks who presented their proposals, they came in very competitive, and my recommendation was to stay with Banner Bank.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that I cannot find a compelling reason worth changing.
Okay.
The rates are very similar, and to change our bank accounts, our checking, our deposits, our direct deposits that come from Lane County, our federal and state payroll tax deposits, unless we can come up with a very large reason to make a change, I recommend we stay with Banner Bank.
Okay. Let the record show that we are awarding our banking.
Do you want to discuss it?
Yes, okay. Let's have some discussion.
I think it'd be prudent to discuss it. I mean, I'd like to know, as far as the merchant rates, how are the banks stacked up on our card services? Do they stack up comparatively?
No, they don't. Banner Bank is a better deal.
Is it?
Yes, they process their own cards instead of going to a third party, so they can offer us a little bit better deal per transaction. And they have said that they will decrease our merchant service charges greater than $600 starting November 15. So it's like 10 cents. You know, they did a calculation, and I believe it was something like 10 cents per transaction based on the transactions that go through. But they can do that, and OPB cannot. So there is, monetarily, there is some advantage in that particular area.
In the banner.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, there's, from looking at the proposals, you know, there's 3 banks that put proposals in. One of them had just a flat service charge. The other was, and that was US Bank. Oregon Pacific Bank was, you know, it's a good bank. There's nothing wrong with their proposal. It's a good proposal. It's just that there's not a big reason. There's nothing within those 2 proposals to make it to our advantage, at least that I can see looking at the 2 of them, with the exception that Banner can provide us with a little bit better rate for the credit card transactions.
Well, I think credit cards are a pretty big part of our business
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And they're willing to negotiate that a little bit. Or
Well, that's they've indicated that that's what they would do, is they would reduce our merchant services. It looked like a little greater than $600 a year based on the transaction fees. I think it was like 10 cents a transaction that they were going to
Reduce it for the
yes.
next year.
And they did an analysis in order to come up with that number
Where-
of our transactions.
Where do we have Pacific View? Isn't it through Banner?
The loan?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And then we may want to, maybe there's an opportunity for us to look at some consolidation in you know, negotiating some loan changes maybe in the future too.
Well, we
'Cause they're
already,
carrying-
we already
We did one last
looked
year.
into that, and our loans have a fairly competitive interest rate, and
Okay,
it
well,
wasn't.
we'll continue to look into those all the time with the changing economic
True.
conditions.
True.
Because I'm sure our loans are tied to the prime.
I don't know. I
Imagine
can't
that.
answer that, but it doesn't have to be.
No. I had a question, I wanted to check on the.
And no,
Yeah, that's
that
fine.
makes sense. You have to study those very carefully to see the differences. And that's the primary difference is that.
Any more discussion on the ordering our banking services? Do we need to vote on this?
No.
Okay, then I will once again say that the Port of Siuslaw is awarding the banking service of record to Banner Bank for 2016 through 2018. Okay, now it's time for reports. Don't think I have anything to report. I've been very busy helping with the negotiations on to purchase the property, and that's been kind of keeping me busy around here. Plus, I negotiated with our Newport manager for his hiring. That's about it, I think, for January. Nancy, I'm sure you have some
I have a
things to
few.
report.
December was kind of a nice quiet month. And our 7th of January, you were in here too, Ron, with Dina for a PNWA phone conference that we listened to for, it was a while, it wasn't a real long one. The 8th, I was at Ron Wyden Town Hall, and it was at the high school, and it was a really good town hall because there were school kids that asked questions and got answers to their questions there. The 9th was a town hall. I had to be in Eugene anyway, and Senator Merkley was at Coburg, so I went to that one. And he answered questions from the audience, which was, it's interesting and helpful when people can get their questions asked. The 11th was City Economic Development meeting, and the 11th was also a City Council meeting. And today was Main Street presentation, and this is a group that tells how to upgrade your town, encourage your businesses to do a little bit of changing with their buildings, make them so that things are cleaner, nicer, newer, appealing for people. And at the end of this, I asked the lady who was giving this thing if this had happened in Sheridan, Wyoming. It's a town I grew up in, and it was at the base of the Bighorn Mountains, and it was a dead-end town. Stayed about 11,000 people from the time I lived there until just a few years ago. And 8 years ago, they did a main upgrade of businesses, and no empty buildings, no weed lots, and they are a destination now. And art is the moving machine in today's world, and it's helping all of these places. And I think our participation in art here in Florence is a really good thing to do. And this is the design that the staff picked that will be painted on our sea lion that will be somewhere here on the port property. And that's all I did.
Any other commissioners?
Dina's got a report. Or do you?
Yes, I will get to her in a moment. I would also like to say that I did go to the town the town meeting with Ron Wyden, and I did stand up and ask him what he can do to get the money for us to repair our jetties, the $122 million we need to get our jetties so our fishing boats can get in and out. And he talked around it quite a bit, but it was nice to bring it to his attention anyway, so that if we hear it often enough, maybe he'll push something towards the Army Corps of Engineer, because they're the one that has to make the decision on what jetties get fixed and which ones don't. Having said that, Dina, manager's report.
Well, I sent you out my report that you would have gotten on your email, but just a couple of things to point out. We have received the draft for the audit draft for fiscal year 2014-15. I'm still working on the manager discussion and analysis update for the auditor, and just reviewing the audit draft to make sure that it doesn't have any mistakes that I can see. Work began today on preparing the concrete crack close to the boardwalk next to ICM. So the city's working on that.
You said the city's doing the work on
The
it?
city is doing the work on that, and the port will need to pay $750 to assist with the financial end of, it's kind of a partnership project. I submitted 6 projects in response to last month's discussion regarding the Water Resources Development Act for 2016. So the projects that went out were river and marina dredging, jetty, wharf, bulkhead repair, and debris boom replacement. And those emails went to Senator DeFazio, Wyden, Merkley, Roblin, and Ken McEwen's office. And that's quite a bit of it. We're getting ready for the new manager to start on February 1st, and also have been very active with the Wilbur property negotiations, and that's all I have.
Okay,
I'd like one more comment.
Sir.
I am really pleased with the port being able to do something with the Wilbur property, because it's a favorite spot of mine, and I publicly thank you for allowing me to cross and clam there, because it's just great, and it would be very nice when that can be totally open and easily accessible for people.
Thank you, Nancy. Anything else?
No.
Anybody have anything else? Okay. If that's the case, I am going to adjourn our meeting, our regular meeting, at 7:18, and we will go into a executive session